Hey, friends. This is Martine Williams, and I am obsessed with all things mompreneur life and helping you to remix your priorities, your habits, your mindsets, and yes, even your relationships so that you can build a successful business without losing yourself in the process. I'm also obsessed with the color turquoise and lyrics of the 80s and 90s, but that's beside the point. Girlfriend, you don't have to hustle 24/7, 365 and continue to sacrifice your health, your relationships, and your sanity to be a successful mompreneur. As a small town girl living in a lonely world to a six-figure mompreneur, I am here to teach you how. There is a better way, and this podcast is your one-stop shop for all of the how-tos, the encouragement, the life hacks, the success tips, and of course, a little side of tough love. This is the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. So let's do this. Well, hey friends, and welcome back to the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. I am so excited to talk with you today about accountability. Dun, 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 dun. It's one of those words we don't like to admit that we need it, but it is one of those things that my husband and I both firmly believe in for the success in marriage, success in life and parenting. And as business owners, we all need accountability. So if you're new here, thank you so much for tuning in to the show. I hope that you will find this podcast a place of encouragement, inspiration, and for sure, I am your CEO, your Chief Encouragement Officer. So let's dive right in today and talk about how to create greater accountability in your life. Now, again, if you're already thinking, well, I don't need that, or that's for someone else, I really want you to think about right now, the season that you're in right now. Kids are going back to school. Maybe you have some of the summer slump going on in your businesses, or just kind of getting back to a routine. And I know for me, we have a lot going on right now. If you've listened to my previous episodes, you know that my family, COVID went through my family. You know that we just bought a new home. We just sold our home. So we're going to be moving in the next couple of weeks, depending on when you're listening to this episode. Plus, we had a lot of family and friends in town for the summer. And so we had a great summer. But now it's time to get back to some of those routines. And we're going to need to get back to maybe some of our healthy habits that we kind of let go, speaking from experience. So as I am sharing this information with you today, just know that I am pointing two fingers back at me. And it's always interesting to me how when I do a training or I share some of my tidbits with other people, I'm actually teaching myself again. So just know I'm with you, sister, on this. Well, Proverbs 27:17 says that iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. And I can tell you from all the areas of life, the areas that I've been the most successful in are the areas where I have the most accountability. But I wanted to help you kind of think about accountability maybe in a different way, or just give you some helpful tips to help you get back on track, help you to see accountability as a gift and not a burden. Okay. So the first thing I want you to think about is I want you to resolve to make progress, not excuses. Y'all, we are not about perfection here. Perfection is a lie. It does not exist. And so resolve to make progress, not excuses. Don't allow the victim role to come in. That only gives your power away. When we, are not accountable to ourselves and accountable to the things we want, and we put blame on other people or other circumstances. And again, I have found myself kind of in that cycle here recently. All the reasons why I can't be going back to the gym, or why all the reasons I can't get more focused on my business, and they're excuses. I mean, just being completely transparent, honest, they're just excuses. And it's not that I'm playing a victim role. It's just easier sometimes to make those excuses and justify in our own heads when we really know deep down, they're just excuses. So when you give your power away to other circumstances or other people, or we're blaming other things, I believe it was in Andy Stanley's book, he just says, if you give that power away, then you don't believe you have the power to change it, right? If you're blaming it on other people, then you're giving away your power to actually change it and do something about it. So I want you to notice when you're making excuses and settling for a mediocrity in your life. Like if you think about it right now, Where are you making the most excuses? How are you settling for mediocrity in your life? And then focus on the things that you can control. So that is really what I'm focusing on the most right now to kind of get myself back into the routine is what can I control right now? Because honestly, a lot of things feel out of control. And I said feel because it's not factual a lot of the time. You know, what we have going on up in our head are the feelings, but they're not actually facts. So focus on the things you can control. I'm focusing on the things I can control. I'm focusing on one thing. You know, if I come to my office and just do 30 minutes as opposed to 3 hours, which is what I was doing, you know, or longer pre-COVID and pre-move. So what can I get in and do today that's going to make me feel good and make me know that I was productive today? Okay, so accountability is first a mindset. And I really want you to grab onto this. Accountability is first a mindset, then an action. So you need to take ownership of our thinking, our actions, our results to achieve your goals. So I know as we go into this next season, I'm speaking to definitely my mompreneurs out there who have your own businesses. You're setting goals for your business. You're setting goals, maybe some family goals for how you want the holidays to look. We're going to talk a lot about that in the coming episodes. But I want you to take ownership of your thinking because remember, it's a mindset first, then your actions, and then your results. Okay. All right. The second thing is stop feeling sorry for yourself. And again, I really feel like I'm speaking to myself here because there have been times where, you know, I have been kind of having my own little pity party. And it can, if you camp out there, like someone reached out to me the other day and they asked me, you know, they were feeling a little discouraged in their business. And she said, you know, how do you stay encouraged? How do you stay inspired? And it's not that I don't get discouraged because I'm human. And there are times and there are things that have happened in my business that have not been the way I want them to go, right? Things sometimes just don't work out the way you want them to work out. But I don't camp out in the land of discouragement. I just can't because it leads to depression. It leads to anxiety. It leads to all of those negative downward spiral of emotions. And so I'm learning this last year, as you heard me talk on other episodes, I'm learning to allow myself to feel the disappointment and feel the discouragement, but I can't camp out and pitch a tent there. It's okay to be disappointed when things don't go your way, but remember, failure is an event, not a characteristic. Remember, we've talked about that. And if you think about the acronym, fail is a failed attempt in learning, and that came from Marie Forleo's book. But I really want you to think about that and learn to manage your thinking and your attitude. So this is all around accountability to yourself. I know when people think of accountability, we think of accountability partners, and I do have one, and I've had one for over 10 years. My husband has one. But I want you to think about right now these things that I'm sharing with you, like how to be accountable to yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's who's showing up every day is you. That's who is living with the consequences of doing or not doing what you said you wanted to do in your life and in your business. So number 3 is be willing to take different actions. If you want something you don't have, you need to be doing something you're not currently doing. We hear this all the time, but it's so true. Take action will not only change the outcome, it changes your attitude. It increases your confidence. So when you take action on your plan, or maybe the action you need to do is to actually sit down and figure out what is the plan? What do I want to be accountable to over the next, let's just say 30, 60, or 90 days? When you take action on that plan, it changes your attitude. You know you're making a positive step forward towards that goal. And that increases your confidence and that increases your motivation to do more, to do that thing again. Progress is one of the biggest motivators over money. Progress, seeing progress. You think about if you're on a weight loss journey or you're trying to change have healthier habits and you're seeing progress because of those healthy habits. It's motivating, right? That's why we want to be tracking these things as well, which is a whole nother podcast. Okay. Number 4, associate with the accountables. So think about who you are associating with. Are they someone who is also accountable to themselves and their goals? Like, do you see them walking the walk and talking the talk. Avoid the drama mamas, the excuse makers like the plague. I've always said, sit with the winners, not the whiners. The conversation is different. Trust me. So if you're finding yourself surrounded by those that are giving their power away by complaining all the time, or they're finding a problem for every solution, you want to associate with those who are accountable. They're accountable to themselves, and you can see it lived out loudly in their life. So nurture relationships with those who are accountable, because accountability isn't consequences. Like, I know when we think about accountability, or maybe that's why when you think of that word, it seems so heavy and serious, but it isn't just about consequences. It's about taking ownership, which is a totally different mindset. If you're thinking, I don't want to get an accountability partner because now there's going to be consequences. Well, there's always going to be consequences, whether you have an accountability partner or not. But don't think of that person or yourself as someone who, is just about giving you a slap on the wrist if you didn't do what you said you wanted to do. It's taking ownership. Like, when I think about those people that I brought into my life to be either my accountability partner, I'm not expecting them to come back to me and say, did you do that, Martine? Did you go to the gym 4 days a week? When they do that, that's a bonus, but I'm accountable to myself and I'm accountable to them. So I'm going to be giving them updates. I'm going to be reaching out to them. I don't expect my accountability partner to be chasing me around. So it's about you taking ownership. And I believe that accountability is one of the most beautiful, loving gifts we can give ourselves and give someone else. Because when you ask someone, hey, let's be a pacing partner, or hey, this is the area of my life that I'm really trying to increase my accountability in, that's a gift, because you're letting that person into your life. You're letting them kind of get an inside front seat of your journey. And what a beautiful gift to give someone, but also what a beautiful gift for yourself to allow someone in to walk that journey with you. So accountability, it's the realization that even though we can't control the circumstances, we can control how we respond. And that goes back to the E plus R equals O. So it's the realization that we can't control the circumstances always, but we can control how we respond. Number 2 is the understanding that the quality of our choices determines the quality of your life. What choices are you making right now as you try to get out of the summer slump and you're trying to get back in to business, or get back to some of the routines that get lost over the summer? What are the choices that you are making, or what choices do you need to change? It's also the recognition that in any situation, you have a choice. They may not always be attractive ones, right? But you still have choices. And that is an important and empowering distinction. The choices that are right in front of you, they may not be the most attractive, because we're all going through different things right now, and all of our lives look so different. Some are in school, some are hybrid, some are, being homeschooled. Some of you are, you used to work out of the home and now you're in the home. So some of them may not be the most attractive, but you still have a choice. And that is so empowering and a great distinction. Okay, so let's transition a little bit into commitment, because they go hand in hand, right? If you're wanting to increase accountability in your life, then you're going to need to increase the commitment level too for yourself. So commitment is a conscious decision to take a specific action to create a desired result. It's a conscious decision to take a specific action to create a desired result. It's also staying loyal to what you said you were going to do, even when the feeling you had in that moment has left you, right? It's really easy in January to say, yes, it's finally going to be the time that I get my health back, or I start focusing on XYZ, you fill in the blank. But then 30 days from then, the feeling's not so exciting and you're actually getting into the work, and it's easy to kind of walk away from that. So commitment is just staying loyal to what you said you're going to do, even when the feeling you set it in has left you. And there are times, again, this is one of the questions I get all the time. How do you stay motivated? How do you stay committed? And I'm telling you, accountability is key. But there's also some successful, keys to success with being to help you with your commitments. Number 1 is the burning desire. What is the compelling reason why you're doing what you're doing? Reasons equal results. So why is that your goal? Why do you want to have this or that in your life? Why do you want to grow your business to this level? Why do you want to have healthier habits? That's what helps push us through. When the commitment's feeling low, that's what helps push us through, is when we go back to why we're doing those things. And as I said on my last podcast episode, those are the questions I've really been asking myself as I kind of came out of this season of illness. And it really put things in perspective to me. Like, is this really still important to me? Why am I doing this? Am I just doing this because I've always done it? Or am I doing this because it's giving me the desired result that I want for my life and my business? So number 2, clear action. So what are the key activities or key actions that are going to be super important to stay focused on, to be disciplined in, to help you reach that goal, to help you to stay committed? So be very, very clear, again, on that burning desire. Is it compelling enough? And then having that clarity around it, and clarity around what are the actions you need to take. Because if you're not getting closer to your goal, and the things you're doing aren't getting you closer to your goals, it's taking you further away. If that ladder is leaning up against the wrong wall, then it's taking you closer to where you want to go. All right. Number 3, a key to successful commitment is to count the cost, right? Commitment requires sacrifice, tough love. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break it to myself, but commitments require sacrifice. I think about growing my business and some of the things that I sacrificed, not my key priorities because they were my key priorities, but there were other things that I've had to sacrifice along my journey to success so that I could have that. I remember when I first hired a coach, and she loves quotes. I've already met her, Sherry McAllister, on a previous episode, but her and I both love quotes, and we love just kind of having that little nugget. And one of the things she said to me when I first started coaching with her, and she said, if we do the things we need to do when we need to do them, the day will come when we get to do the things we want to do when we want to do them. And I remember just thinking, man, I can't wait to be on the other side of that equation where I get to do what I want to do when I want to do it. But there's things you're going to have to do, and we have to do in the beginning, that require sacrifice. And I think anybody that tells you any different is just not telling you the whole truth. So it requires the sacrifice. If you're trying to, again, kind of get back into an exercise routine and get your nutrition cleaned up, you're making sacrifices on some things that maybe you did over the summer. Maybe you're a little bit more lax in the pizzas and the ice creams and the cocktails. And so you're going to be making some sacrifices. Okay, number 4, key to successful commitment is act on commitments, not feelings. Act on the commitment and not the feeling. Learning to do the things, again, you need to do, regardless of how you feel, is a core discipline for success. Because I'm just going to be honest, there are some days I don't feel like coming to my desk. There are days I don't feel like going to work out. There are days I don't feel like eating the healthy salad as opposed to the slice of pizza. And sometimes I indulge. Again, this is not about perfection, but learning to do the things you need to do, regardless of how you feel, is a core discipline for success. And discipline is what kicks in when motivation is gone. It's the discipline because you've always been doing it, right? It becomes a daily discipline. And I'm going to talk about that also on another episode. But learning to base your actions on what you know you need to do based on how you're feeling that day is a core discipline. And when we think about cost, I'm going to back up a little bit on counting the costs. Like, counting the costs could include, again, money. It can include time. I don't want you to think just like sacrificing time, but it could be, maybe you have to make some sacrifices financially. Maybe you need to make some sacrifices or take risks. It also mean like uncertainty. Like, there are going to be things that you have to learn that are new, like this podcast, being committed to the podcast. There's still things that are uncertain. And there's still some things that are a little bit out of my comfort zone in my businesses, but I have to count the costs, count them, and that'll help you with the commitment. And remember, whatever your goals are. So if you're setting a 30 or 60 or 90-day goal, just remember, it's not a lifetime commitment right now, but it is for a 30-day or 60 or 90-day time frame. So that helps me when I'm like, okay, I've got this goal or I've got this commitment, and here are the actions that I need to take over the next 30 to 60 or 90 days, however you're setting your goals. Side note, if I give myself a year, I'm going to take the full year. So I really try to keep my goals short so that I can stay focused on those daily disciplines that I need to do. But that just helps me mentally to know, okay, I'm not in this for a lifetime. This is something I'm going to try for the next 30, 60, 90 days, and then reevaluate certain things. Now, I do want to remain active, as consistently as I can, 3 to 5 workouts a week for a lifetime, because I know the health benefits of that. But just if that helps you at all, I think we kind of get stuck in this all or nothing mentality when it comes to commitment and accountability. But you could say, like, I want to be accountable for the next 30 days and see how it goes, evaluate. It may not be the right person that you're asking accountability for. People ask me all the time, how do you find a great accountability partner? And I think again, goes back to being very clear on what you want, on why you want it. Are they someone who's accountable to themselves? So those are all great things. Do they value the same things that you value? Are they willing to commit? It's a commitment on both sides if you're looking for a pacing partner. But just think about it. It doesn't have to be thought of this lifetime commitment that you're doing right now. Think short term, at least for me, that's what helps me. And then reevaluate after that time frame and see, was this a win for me, or was this a learn? Because there are no failures. You win or you learn. Okay. So I hope that was helpful for you to talk a little bit about accountability. I know for me, this is what has helped me. And when I am kind of in that unmotivated, less commitment zone in my life, that's where I need to pull on my accountability to myself, but also who are my accountability partners that maybe I let go or that I didn't check in with over the summer. Thankfully, I have some built-in accountability with my husband as well. But I just wanted to go over that with you because I know how much of a gift accountability has been for me. From a business standpoint, having a coach, from a health and fitness, having a coach there, from, being a mom and being a wife, having those key people in my life, those people that I see being accountable to themselves, those are the people that I choose to associate with. So I hope that you were encouraged by this. And I'd love for you to come over to Instagram, send me a DM and let me know if you have any questions. You can certainly find me over there on Instagram at Martine31Williams. And as always, you know that I am believing in you. Well, that's a wrap, friends, for this week's episode of the Mompreneur Life Remixed podcast. Thank you so much for listening and for following the show. It means so much to me. And listen, friend, sharing is caring. So if you loved this episode and thought of some fellow mompreneurs who could benefit, send them the link. Share this episode or take a screenshot and head on over to Instagram and share and tag me at Martine31Williams. We are connected on Instagram, right? It's where you will get all the fun behind the scenes of my life and business as a mompreneur. Until next time, know that I am believing in you always.